200 years old. everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Dark Tides and Whispered Hearts, our first episode getting back on schedule. So thank you very much for joining us. Before we go around and say hello to all of our wonderful players and DM today, a few notices. Check out our social links, Discord, Twitter, and YouTube. Come and be a part of a safe, inclusive community. If you want to come and play, send me a DM on Twitter. And if you want to catch up, go and catch up on YouTube, where all of the videos are up to date, I think, currently, maybe. Also, check out our sponsors. First of all, check out Hero Forge. You might have just seen their minis on the intro screen there. We made those in Hero Forge. It's a fun tool where you can make customized miniatures. It takes, well, it depends on how passionate you are, really, is how long it takes. So maybe give yourself a little bit of time. It's good fun. Also, check out Mage Hand Press. Mage Hand Press have been our longest running sponsor. They recently released the Dark Matter expansion for 5e in hardback. It's a fantastic book which allows 5e play in space. Races, backgrounds, classes, you name it, it's all in there. Even a whole separate space combat system, which feels very D&D. Also, check out our other sponsors, The Deck of Many. The Deck of Many, who created The Deck of Many Things, including these animated flashcards, reference cards for 5e. I think the Avatar of Death is just following me around. That's the second time I've drawn that randomly. I'm starting to worry. They also...
Oh god! What?
They also threw a mug of coffee across the room.
Are you serious? Actual coffee in the mug.
It feels like a Monday, everyone. I know it's not, but...
The Avatar of Death was just foretelling the death of that mug of coffee.
Wait.
That's what died.
Was that the coffee you were talking about having made before you fed all the animals?
Just made, yeah. Okay, everyone. So they
Hang
also
on.
do...
Let me just wipe some of the coffee off of my Humblewood campaign, a hardbook setting for 5e that
Oh my
the Deck of Many
god.
produce. Alice, can I hand over to you for like 10-15 minutes?
Yeah. Good luck. Okay.
15 minutes.
That
This is a
coffee's
fucking
gone
mess.
The
The whole mug shattered on the floor. Oh yeah, full mug. See you in a minute.
Okay, hi everyone. Let's hop round and say hi to everyone. Let us know who you're playing, where we can find you. And we'll start with the very lovely Rachel. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Lovely to be here yet again. First stream after New Year. So very much ready for a full year of more of this. And yeah, I have literally no idea how Alice is going to continue forward other than saying, well, you all died, that was a great season. So we'll find out what happens. Kind of terrified, super excited, especially secrets that need to be kept and all. It's going to be good fun. So yeah, I am playing Lamorna, who, as we know now, is the creature archetype, who... thank goodness, rolled well enough to save the poor cabin boy who's now been traumatized like 5 times in the space of 24 hours. That poor kid. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I also think Wyatt has been traumatized a lot in the last 24 hours. So hi, Matt. How are you?
Hi. I'm all right. We're still easing into the new year over here. So a little bit frazzled today, but that's okay. It seems like I'm in good company. But yeah. So my name's Matt. I'm playing Wyatt. He's a cowboy that sailed over on a boat. He's looking for some people that hopefully will help give him a sense of identity. Is the reason why I came over. But anyways, that's why he's here. That's why you see a cowboy mixed in with all this British culture. And I'm actually a filmmaker storyteller. So I'm over on Twitter and Twitch at Stitched Stories. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop over to Jen. Oh, hi.
Hello. I am also just getting back into the swing of things after the holidays, so I feel fortunate that I'm awake at the moment. That feels like an accomplishment for the day. And yeah, last we were on, Shepard was plunging into the depths of the sea. So I'm happy to still be here. And I feel like even after making that plunge into the sea, Shepard is still going to think that there is a reason why all of this is happening and that we need to figure out what that reason is because he is one stubborn person. So that's where we're starting with Shepard.
Wonderful, thank you. And Scrat, you all know Scrat. And he is playing Douglas Lackland, which I was saying whilst he cleans up his coffee. Otherwise, last week, Wyatt had a dream, almost like a premonition, right down to the small details of a white piece of material being caught on a nail on the steps on the way up, a rough sea coming in along with a storm, which would doom the ship almost.
Right.
And it came to fruition. The ship almost completely upturned. Everyone fell overboard and plunged into the depths that is this ocean. And we start this probably on calmer waters. And Shepard, you are feeling very heavy. Your eyes are stinging with salt as you sort of try to peel them open. It's dark and your lungs are very full of water as you feel this sinking sensation as this darkness slowly sort of takes over your vision. And everything is very cold. You have this tiny bit of what you think is light left, but you know from being at sea for so many years, you've heard of the false light. The light that doesn't necessarily mean the surface, it can mean somewhere else. And you sort of come round with your eye, and your eyes almost burn as this salt sort of hits them, and this water is very dark, blue, green. You can see your hands in front of you, and you do feel yourself running out of air. What would you like to do?
I'm going to the best that I can try to relax my body and let it float, let it rise itself naturally close to the surface.
Okay. Let's have a look. Roll me a balance, actually, please, as you try to steady yourself, like you're trying to keep yourself calm.
Roll for buoyancy.
Buoyancy.
Buoyance check.
Actually not terrible at balance, so that makes me happy. And now that I say that, let's actually roll.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
So you do seem to float for a little bit, but it's almost like you feel your body turning round. As if like it's not really taking you in a direction. You can feel the waves, you can feel a current dragging you almost in different directions. A little bit like a riptide as you sort of, as you hold your breath to create this buoyancy, you realize your breath is getting shorter and shorter. You don't think you're going to be able to hold your breath long enough to get to wherever it is you're trying to get to the surface.
Time to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Time to pray. So I'm actually going to let out the last of my breath because I can't verbally pray under the water. I'm going to let it out as a prayer to the Star of the Sea and ask her to guide me to the surface.
Okay. Could you roll me, let's have a look. Roll me a Beyond, please. Okay. You let out a breath. You let out these, you see all of these air bubbles sort of start to leave your nose, leave your mouth, and as that happens, you sort of see the direction they start to travel up, and there's a moment where that breath, your chest tightens because you can feel your last breath leaving you. Is there anything in particular you're speaking out, like in your head, or is it
It's
just a cry for help?
just A strong cry for help and a wish for guidance to the surface. I don't think in this state I can even really form words. Just the desire.
With this, you do see these bubbles burst as they drift up and up, and your eyes become hazy as you feel the air leaving your body and creating this bizarre sensation of dizziness. And all of a sudden you feel warm, like that icy cold water around you. You're still under, but it just feels slightly warmer. And there's a moment you're not too sure if it's in a sort of a bizarre state. The last few blinks of your eyes, you do see faces in the water, almost as if they're just peering out at you from the darkness very briefly, almost like out of intrigue. And the thing you see first is like a material. At first it looks almost spectral, with this white linen that sort of drifts in the water. And as your eyes start to close, you do hear a soft voice. You would say it's so close and so soft it would be as if it's whispered in your ear, but there's nothing around you. And you just hear, Brandon, it's been a long time. And you almost think you can feel that rough cotton swirl around you, almost like smoke underneath the water as this material hits. And you see there's a lot of it now, almost like clothing or robes underneath this water.
With the last bit of strength that I have, I'm going to try to kick up in the direction of the bubbles and grab onto the clothing.
As you reach out, you stretch your fingers as far as possible as you reach out to grab where this clothing is. And you don't grab material, you don't grab anything like that. In fact, a hand reaches back.
Grasp that as hard as I can.
It's a very gentle grasp. In fact, it weaves its fingers in between your own. And for a moment, you feel pulled towards whatever it is that is at the end of this giving hand. And you feel another hand rest on your back as your eyes sort of lull. You don't see a face, you don't see a body, just this whirl of material drifting in the tides. And then for a moment, it feels like you're being dragged up, and you feel your chest tighten. And then there's a moment where that cold comes back. And then you do feel a pair of lips by your ear that whisper, open your ears, listen. And you manage to look up and you see this dancing of almost like speckled light as you see the surface of the ocean. This green and these yellows and this white light. It's almost too dazzling. And as you break the surface, this thing, the helping hand, is gone. You hear a bell. As you hear a bell chime somewhere. And this time, it's not all around. It's not on the breeze. It's coming from a direction. As you look around and you break the surface of the sea and you are alone. But there is a feeling of comfort as whatever that was leaves you.
She said, listen, so I'm going to swim in the direction of the bell. If I have the strength.
Okay, could you roll me a brawn, please?
Not surprised.
You feel how heavy your limbs are. You realize as you sort of pull yourself up to the surface that rush of air that sort of fills your lungs, and it feels you didn't realize how desperate for air you were. And you sort of look at your hands, you know, and they go all pruny. You can see them all wrinkles from the sea salt. And you sort of lay back and drift on your back for a moment just to catch your breath before making a very slow progress towards the sound of that bell. Your legs and arms aching as you go. What is Shepard thinking right now?
Who was that in the water who recognized me? Was it someone? In his panic, he was worried that it was someone that he knows from back in America who somehow found their way to drowning in the water here. Makes very little sense. He's remembering Elizabeth and her fear of the island with the bell, but feels that he has no choice but to go in that direction if he can. And has faith that his plea for help to the Star of the Sea brought him help and not something taking advantage of his vulnerability.
There is a moment where you are swimming and you're not too sure how long you've been swimming. It's a very slow pace. You have that sort of bob up and down. This ocean seems to be very calm, much calmer than the one you fell into. And there's a moment where, as you're swimming on your front, you see that wisp of material underneath the water, moving in the same direction as you. Before it disappears, as you hear the call of gulls overhead, indicating land. And just almost breaking on the distance with your very tired, very sore eyes, you just see that patch of green, that thin line.
Making my way to the land as fast as I can. As that cloth goes by me, I'm just going to very briefly just say, Ellen? And wait.
The cloth, for a moment, comes up to the surface just a little bit. And there's a small patch of it that just drifts, as if it had been flung from a ship and it was just drifting on the front of the water. And you realize it's part of a sail, as if it's been torn in the storm. There's something about it that you know this is not. It wasn't just a sail. Something saved you. And it felt kind.
Even though now it's just a patch of sail, I'm going to try to grab it and get it to the land with me.
Yeah, you can sort of splash a little bit. It's not a very big piece of material. If anything, you can sort of wrap it around your wrist as you continue to swim. It is soaking wet. It seems to be it's not heavy in the fact it weighs you down, but you can definitely feel the weightiness on your wrist as you make your way towards the island, this patch of land, as the seagulls sort of almost funnel towards it as well. And we hop over to Douglas and Wyatt. And there is a strange moment, I suppose, where You both almost wake up around the same time. There's the taste of a mixture of sea salt and kelp, that really almost like fishy taste, that earthy taste in your mouth. And both of your faces are dry and cracked, as if you've been in the air and in the sun for too long. But it's not a warmth of a sun. The sun is definitely out, but it's not a heat sort of dryness. This is where salt is laid on your skin and drawn out all the moisture. And you can feel that salt like in your eyebrows and in your hair where it's sort of crusted a little bit. And it's almost like this very cold water laps up against you, and the fingertips that you are both digging in to this part of a broken mast that you both lay slumped over. And both of your eyes sort of peel open at the same time, and you can see each other. You're on the same mast, the one you were clinging to as the whole ship upturned. It's very cold, this water.
I'm gonna reach up, make sure I still got my hat.
Your hat is clasped firmly in your other hand. If anything, some of the bits around it you've got hooked underneath.
All right. Now that that's sorted, I'm gonna get a good look around. See what kind of place this witch took us to.
You look out at a grey-blue sky. There are no more storm clouds overhead. As you both bob gently up and down on these waves. There is some debris around you. It doesn't look enough for a whole ship to have burst, but there's a bit here and there, bits of mast, bits of sail. It looks to more that the mast maybe snapped as it sort of hit the water.
Right.
Any sign of land?
Not yet.
Doug, you all right?
Aye, I'm alright. Are you?
I'm all right. You see any of the rest of the crew anywhere?
Eh. I'm pretty cold. You?
Yeah, it's mighty chilly.
I'd say we need to paddle somewhere to stay warm.
You see that little girl anywhere?
Look around again.
There is no little girl. You can see at the top of the mast where she was tied to it, very much like a lot of people were, but the rope is snapped.
Yeah, I didn't see her. Are you?
All right. Keep a lookout for her. She's a witch. Then she did some kind of voodoo magic. Saved herself. She might come back to finish the job.
Does this look like where we were?
If by that you mean open ocean, yes. Do you mean does this look like the real ocean?
Yeah.
It looks like the real ocean. You've not been teleported to Davy Jones' locker.
Right, let's see. We were on our main shipping route. We came off of the main shipping route because old Bright Eyes wanted to go and follow a star. So we can either look for land around here somewhere or try and head back to that shipping lane and see if we can see another boat.
Well, how are we gonna do that?
They say good sailors can navigate by the stars. You know anything about stars?
It is
Don't know
daytime.
anything about stars.
I don't know much
What I know about stars?
I mean, you might know some when it is dark, but it's currently daytime.
That one there is the sun.
I'm familiar with that one. Comes up at dusk, I believe, and down at dawn.
It starts over there, and it ends up over there.
Aye. Look, I'm just gonna suggest a direction, okay, Wyatt? Call it Pigeon's instinct. Gull's ability to find a port. But I think we should go this way, and I'd like to roll beyond to see which way I point.
Yes.
Can my gut tell me which way we can go?
Okay.
Yes, I've just got a funny feeling that we should go this way.
Alright.
So how are
What-
you paddling this? Are you heaving yourselves onto the mast, or because you're currently both sort of up to your chests and shoulders in water, holding on?
Well, let's just hold on and paddle. Hopefully the exercise will keep us warm.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just start paddling then.
If we
Hey,
see any more...
do you know how to swim?
Aye, of course I know how to swim. I've been on the sea since I was a wee lad. Wait a minute, Wyatt, do you know how to swim?
Yeah, I know. I can swim good enough.
Alright, just hold on to the
But
mast and...
things go south real fast if I end up just kind of being in the water without anything to hang on to.
Alright, well, I'll bear that in mind. Hold on to the mast as though your life depends on it, because I've got a funny feeling it might.
All right. Yep. All I'm saying is we need each other.
Aye.
If I get knocked off this mast, I'm going to need you help put me back upright.
Aye.
And if something comes up that ain't supposed to be there, I'm going to shoot it.
I like that. While we're
We need each other.
paddling, if you see any more bits of ship floating about, let's gather it up and see if we can make something more of a mast than a wee paddle jobby.
Like a raft.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll be looking out for that.
Might be able to at least be able to get out of the water to get some sleep, maybe warm up a little.
Was any of your food waterproof?
It's all waterproof.
Okay.
Shame it's at the bottom of the ocean.
You know, none of it floats.
Peas, maybe? You tell me if you spot any peas around here.
All right, I'll be looking out for some peas then. Dadgummit, Douglas.
Could you
I'm
both
hungry.
roll me a brawn, please, to see how well you do?
Bro.
I couldn't roll better if I tried.
I won't say you're going in circles because one of you is stronger than the other. If anything, Wyatt is just as strong. It's just a slight nervousness at everything that might move on the top of the ocean. And you've got this moment of you both start with just one arm each. And at first it's very awkward as you start to move in circles until you both get a rhythm working together. And again, you don't know how long you're swimming for, how long you're sort of rowing with your arms, and they're getting tired. But you hear something. It seems not too far off. You hear a dog bark. And this dog is barking and barking. It's that bark you recognize. As you're sort of moving through some of this debris, you see what looks like a chest, maybe, or like a small, almost wardrobe type thing, and you can hear the scraping. And you can guess maybe the dog jumped in fear, and the lid slammed shut. But you see this half sinking, half afloat, very old chest with the sort of the heavy it's not locked, but the heavy sort of latch that's obviously fallen down. But you can hear the barking.
I immediately, if he hasn't seen it already, point Douglas's attention over to that direction. And I'm saying, Scrat, both of you guys, we gotta save him.
I agree. Hold on to the mast, and I'm gonna let go and swim over to the chest.
You roll me a brawn, please.
Or is there any kind of rope around?
You've got some, definitely some of the rope that's
I toss him. If there's enough to like enough distance there, then I toss him an end of the rope to take it with him.
You can tie two of the bits together, which I'll say you can do pretty easily. You can tie them both together as you knot them, sort of with yourself, like your arms still over the side, so you don't have to let go whilst doing it. And Douglas Wyatt throws your rope to take with you.
Aye, perfect. I'm gonna go straight up to that chest. I'm not gonna open the chest or anything. I'm just gonna wrap the rope around it and come and make it a part of our conglomerative raft that we're building. And then I'll open the chest once it's secured.
I was gonna say, I will say it is sinking slowly because there's obviously it's not like it's watertight.
Okay, if
Alright.
it's sinking, then I'm gonna. Hey, no, it's gonna be taking us down with it.
And you can hear the scratching, like you can hear like the little.
Let him.
claws sort of-
He could probably swim good. Let him hop up on the mast.
I'll open it. Aye, pop.
You sort of, not that you sort of have to sink a tiny bit just to your chin to push this weight of this chest open, and it sort of flings back, and almost straight away you get this dog sort of jump towards your face. It's slobbering all over you, and it's like, you know, when they put their paws all over the top of your head.
I imagine
in every
it's trying
single
to
way.
stand on me.
It's trying to do the stand on your shoulders. It's barking constantly, very, very happily to see you, and it's sort of clambering all over you. Looks very happy to be out of this chest.
Well, I've got a dog on me, Wyatt.
That's good. That's much better than the alternative.
Aye. The claws aren't the most comfortable.
And as he hears your voice, Wyatt, you see this dog sort of with its tiny little legs, because it's like a wiry Jack Russell sort of long thing, as it sort of launches itself and starts paddling towards you. You feel those claws dig in your back as it sort of pushes itself off.
Yeah.
Its tongue's open. You can see its little head like bobbing along as it starts to work its way towards you. It does climb on you. You probably feel yourself dip.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm hefting him up on the mast.
Yeah, you managed to put him straight on the mast, and he's sort of like, he's there right by your face, licking your face while you're doing this.
Yeah. I accept all your love, dog.
You
Dog.
swing back, Douglas.
You see any of the dog? Do you know where any of the other crew is?
And there's the barking stops, and sort of like shifts his head to the side a little bit, sort of tips it, and does sort of look around for a moment, and looks back at
I'm
you.
gonna tap it. I'm gonna boop his snoot and say, do you see Shep or Lamorna anywhere?
And there is a moment where he sort of runs to the other end of the mast. It is snapped in half, but it's still quite a large part of mast. And starts barking. Head up to the sky, barking over and over again as you hear a gull sort of appear overhead.
Seagull?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bird.
I'm telling you, we're swimming in the right direction. If we see gulls, that means there's land.
All right. I'm following you. Well, I'm with you. Right behind you.
Hey,
Got nowhere else to be.
come on. I'm gonna like put the paddle, the pupper on the mast as well. You can paddle too.
You can see like he's got his legs. It's, you know, when dogs just hang either side of like an armrest or something. He's sort of either side. You see these little paws moving very, very slowly. It's not really a paddle, but he thinks he's helping. If anything, he's drying out. You can see how soggy he is. Is that his sort of wiry hair has sort of fallen over his eyes. And you see him sort of moving it out the way every now and then. But you start making your way by following the gulls. Every now and then he sort of throws his head back and howls. And there's a moment where he sort of jumps very excitedly up and down on this mast. You feel the mast going up and down as a very thin line of green appears on the horizon. This land.
Hey, there we go. That's on the horizon now. By nightfall, we'll be pretty much there.
All right, let's keep it on going then.
Keep on keeping on.
Where do you think this is?
Yeah, we'll figure that out when we get there and we're dry, eh?
I guess we will.
And you effectively put your heads down and swim. And now we'll hop over to Lamorna. And Lamorna, you are plunged into this darkness when you have James by your side, and there's a very bizarre sensation. You can feel how you don't feel the cold, or if you do, it doesn't seem to affect you.
It's the perks of blubber.
Blubber perks. And you have been moving through this water. For a moment, your eyes open, and you almost didn't even realize they'd shut for a moment. And you have at the back of your head the sound of the yells, the sound of the screaming, the crashing of wood, the splintering, the thunder and the storm, and that sound of things and bodies plunging into the water. And that image of the head of Minerva drifting past you as you narrowly miss it. And you're almost half gripping on to this cabin boy. And you notice there's some rope, not tied around you firmly, but definitely looped around your waist and his, which he's obviously tried to do almost out of fear. And as your small sort of orbish black eyes open, you're still in your form, and you are in a field of kelp. These long strands sort of reaching up from the darkness below. It is deep here, but it doesn't seem to be as deep as where you were. James is very limp, in your arms, and there's a sensation you haven't felt before, and that's that you feel lost in here. There is darkness all around you. You can feel like there's something else in the water here, sort of weaving in between these long strands of kelp as it sort of waves gently in the water. And the way it is waving, you can tell almost which direction the tide is going.
Okay, so I think my first instinct, if James is feeling limp, I want to get to the surface because I don't know how long he's been stuck underwater. And I'm not quite so much of a concern. I mean, I imagine I probably feel the need to breathe soon, but I'm more worried about him. So I guess probably relying on tail propulsion and just trying to like awkwardly kind of hug him, which is a really weird sensation for her. She's gonna try and make her way to the surface, but she's not gonna rocket up there because if she's aware that they're deep enough whereby the pressure change might hurt him.
You can definitely feel that there would be a pressure change.
Yeah, so she wants to make sure he doesn't have like shock or anything when they get to the surface, but is also quite anxious in case he is drowning.
You can see that there's bubbles leaving his lips, so he's not out of air. It's not like he's drifting. You can see all of his hair sort of like standing on end and waving in this. See, he's got very sort of almost like a puffy face where his eyes are closed. Looks very, very pale, very white.
Yeah, so I think she just holds him close, and she's a very, very big seal. Probably like a little bit bigger than your normal gray seal. And is just gonna try and get back up to the surface.
Okay. Could you roll me let's have a look, a balance or brains, please?
Oh, let's go balance, because that's actually her jam. Let me just find everything. Let's all watch you roll dreadfully.
No. You swim very fluidly through this kelp. For a moment is a weird notion of which way is up, something that you have felt many a time. But it's almost like you use them to direct you upwards. You sort of weave in between them, and you can see the light dappled on top of the surface as you break the water. And as you do, you sort of see James limply sort of just hang there. And you are out in the open ocean. It is, as much as it's not as deep here, it's not because you're close to land.
I think she probably awkwardly rolls in the water, so that James is probably like supported on her back or on her belly or something. So that he's not mostly in the water, so he doesn't get too cold. And this is the most awkward operation. She has no idea how to manipulate this child without hurting him, and is trying like being really gentle, but without any manual dexterity. I think she's gonna try and, based on the fact that she can kind of feel the pull of the tides, see if she can use that to work out where land might be, or where the currents would kind of suggest to go.
Okay. I would say you probably know this. You spent a lot of time at sea. You sort of lay on your back and you sort of drift with the tide for a while, but you don't tend to get much distance. You can feel James breathing, but he is out. And as you can feel how cold he is. He's probably getting too cold. And could you please roll me a beyond?
Ooh, if I can.
Okay. You are half swimming, half drifting, when you have this bizarre sensation of something coming up underneath you.
I think she just instinctively tries to get out of the way, and is it probably not as effectively as she normally would, because she's trying to keep James above the water.
You manage to sort of maneuver yourself as this very sort of little grey head and black eyes pop up right beside you, and it's almost like looking in a mirror. And then another pair, and another pair, and another pair, before you realize there's about 12 to 15 seals sort of popping up around you, coming to have a look out of curiosity as to who this is and what are they carrying.
I think she just kind of blinks those big black eyes at them and probably waits to see if they do anything now they've kind of found out what this floating shape is.
And you can see the curiosity there. There's some large ones, there's some very, very small ones that are sort of swimming closer to you, and they swim upright and sort of bob to the side, and you can see those heads sort of stretch out a little bit towards James, and those long whiskers with like these little droplets of water on the end sort of wrinkle their nose at him, and they look to you and they all start to swim away together.
I think she instantly follows them.
They do check to see if you're following every now and then as you come back. They dive down every now and then. Do you dive down as well?
I don't think she does. I think she would try and make it obvious that she has to stay at the surface.
You can see some of the younger ones still dive down regardless. They sort of weave in between each other, and there's just this motion of all of you swimming, sort of bobbing up and down underneath the water surface. And there's a very strange sort of sensation of calm as these seals weave in between each other, weave in between the kelp. And every now and then you can see them pop back up by your side as if they're just checking to see you're still following, checking to see what's happening. And it's not too long following their directions. You don't see an island, but you see rocks. Large rocks, almost as if like when the tide goes out, they've been baked in the sun a little bit. You can see other seals sort of lying on these rocks, sort of almost sunbathing, warming their bodies up. And you can see gulls ahead, but they seem to almost be directing you there. Specifically looking towards you and James.
I think she continues. I think, she will make for the rocks. At least it's somewhere that she can try and revive James or take some time to work out what the next plan is.
Okay. You can head over to the rocks and you can climb them effectively. Do you stay in your form? Or
I think she would have one look around just to make sure that they're alone.
You are very much alone. There is it is literally just seals here and gulls.
In which case, I think then once she's kind of hauled out of the water and has made sure that James is set down, there's like probably a very strange motion as it almost looks like a pair of hands kind of part the chest of this seal and then kind of pull the skin apart from like this, almost like a central seam. And then it's just like she's kind of shrugging out of this very large seal skin as she steps out of it and kind of holds it over her shoulder. And then she kind of kneels down next to James to kind of check on his condition.
You can see that his chest is rising and falling, but you can hear a lot of gurgling and sort of like coughing and spluttering. You can hear water, basically.
Alright, it's like, well, I've seen parents do this to children in Perranporth, so I think she kind of like awkwardly sits him up and puts him kind of over her shoulder and then just like smacks him on the back.
Yeah, roll a brawn for me.
I'm gonna kill this child.
Knock him out. Oh no. You hit him enough to like
You're killing the wrong child.
it's just like gosh. You hear an almost a convulsing like cough and splatter as this water just leaves this child. It's sort of like and it is just seawater. It's seawater that just splatters on the rock, and you hear the as James sort of sits up and looks around at himself. He sort of backs away very, very quickly, almost like as if he's trying to figure out where he is again. And
James, are you alright? Your back's okay, right?
and he sits on this rock, this warm rock, but he's sort of looking around at all these seals that seem to be eyeing him, and these gulls overhead, and he's just, well, where am I?
Well, with any luck, we're both safe. I don't know where the others are, and I'm sorry, but I don't know where the ship is. But I think you need to warm up and make sure you're doing okay. I mean, your uncle will kill me if anything happens to you.
He sort of pulls his knees up to his chest, and he's like, how do I get warm?
Lamorna kind of does this long, drawn-out kind of, and remembers that she had to like wrestle her coat off to put her skin on when they fell into the water. And with like immense effort, slowly takes this huge fur off her back and says, "All right, well, wrap yourself in this, but whatever you do, don't." And I repeat, this is immeasurably important for both of our survivals. Don't damage this. Just don't put it near your face. Just pull it close around you and don't touch it any more than you have to.
And he sort of looks to you and shrugs, and you can see he's now paranoid that he's going to lose it, because you see his knuckles go white with how tightly he's gripping this.
Just get warm and feel better, all right?
He sort of nods, very wide-eyed, all of his hair just like slack over his face. He's sort of pushing it to one side as he looks around. And you can see these seals are now very interested, probably both of you. Not so much you. It seems to be more interested in the action of you giving this huge sort of skin to this boy who is almost disappearing in it because he's very, very small.
Oh, and don't worry about them. They won't hurt us. They're perfectly safe.
He nods very slowly.
Now, I'm going to just have a look and see if I can see anything else on the horizon. I'm sure if the water's calm here and there's clearly little islands and rocky outcrops, I'm sure there'll be some of the others nearby.
And again, there's a slow nod. He's sort of half listening to you. You can see that his focus is very much mainly on the seals around. But could you please roll me? Let's have a look. You can either roll a balance or a brains.
Ooh, let's go to balance. Oh no!
Oh.
Can I use one of my advantages?
Yes, you can.
Woo.
Okay. You you watch the gulls that sort of seem to be hovering around these seals, and you can tell they're mainly around these seals because of the fish they're pulling up. You can see some very large fish sort of being gulped down, and these sort of the sounds they're making, you know, sort of that gulping and the sort of, and then they're making those sort of barks at each other. But you watch the gulls and you see some of them, you see one in particular, their little flat feet sort of slapping the rock as one of the seals is sort of interacting with one of the others, and it swipes a fish. And you see it make a very quick escape, sort of bouncing from rock to rock as it takes flight and heads in a direction. And you know that gulls go towards land.
I take a moment to kind of just take that in before I go back and sit next to James. James, I have a feeling there might be land in that direction, and I kind of point towards where the gull's flying. However, it will mean probably swimming there.
I could swim. You see him like pushing this very small seal away that has become a bit too interested and is sort of trying to climb on top of like on his like arms, and that is giving him like a real snip up in the face.
That's good. That's great. I'm sure you're a very strong swimmer. It might be worth taking some time though to warm yourself up and maybe find something to eat, just to keep your strength up.
He looks at to eat.
Oh yeah. And she has another scan over this rocky outcrop. Is there any
Start looking for them
driftwood?
peas, boy.
Go around with a colander, like
Yeah. Straining for them salt peas. Is there any driftwood at all that's been washed up here, or is it just bare rock?
It's not just, but you can see some wood and things like that have got caught in the rock. But again, it's not like an amount to say like shipworthy. It's not like a whole ship is crashed.
Is it all damp, or is there any that's been out stranded on the rocks that might have had some time to sun dry?
Yeah, you can see some of it that has definitely dried a little bit, where it's got caught on the rocks and the tide has gone down just the tiniest bit. Definitely like wedged in between two rocks.
Right. Well, you sit tight there. I'm going to try and make a small fire. Then we'll see about cooking up some fish. Fresh fish will be different from what you're used to.
You want to do that here? And he's sort of looking around at all of these seals that some of them are like, you know, throwing themselves against each other. You can see two sort of bulls like fighting, not close to you, but it's a thing. Like,
yeah, I think she kind of looks up and then looks back at him like, it'll be perfectly fine. Besides, you can't build a fire at sea, can you? And you're going to need your strength if we're going to make it off this little island.
okay.
And it'll help you warm up as well.
And there's just that nod. You can tell he definitely trusts you. He's just very confused by what's going on.
I don't think she really says anything to help with his confusion, but she will go and try and find enough pieces of firewood, and unfortunately I'm not able to load the big PDF right now, but I'm assuming with her background as a strider, she'd be able to kind of put together a very small fire, enough to like cook.
Absolutely.
Like
There's
fish
there's
pieces.
let's get those good old fish pieces.
The
The invention of fish fingers. Is you managed to find some driftwood, and there's the sort of the big piece of rock that you are currently on. You can see some seals sort of roll out of your way as you set this up. You can even use some of the kelp that's sort of dried onto the rock that's almost helping catch light. And very soon you can have this fish cooking. And it smells very strong. You have attracted attention as they
Delicious.
sort of watch you do the entire thing.
I think she would make sure like she would offer it to them as well, like a little bit.
Oh, you managed to fling some in their direction, and there's a mad sort of dive for it in some places. And you see James watch mildly terrified, but does sort of like absolutely. You can see how famished he is as he just sort of shoves this into his mouth, and he actually looks like he's really enjoying it. Just sort of like a
Better than those soggy old biscuits, that's for sure. And don't get me started on that pea soup.
He's like, you can't tell Douglas that.
Oh no, that's why I'm telling you. You're my secret keeper, all right?
I can do that.
Great.
Okay. And he sort of like, after a while of resting and sitting, he sort of takes off this sort of skin. You give him, hands it back. He's like, I'm ready for swimming now.
You sure?
Uh-huh. And you see him taking off his own jacket, which was soaked through. It's sort of dried off a bit, but he's tying it around to his waist.
All right. Well, let's see how far we get, shall we?
Okay.
And before I kind of work out how we're going to do this, are there any planks or pieces of wood that would offer any buoyancy? Kind of to almost like to use as a buoyancy aid.
Roll me a brains.
Okay. Not my best. Oh, really not my best.
There are no planks of wood or anything that looks half decent.
Grab a seal. No.
Yeah.
One of those little jets you hold on to.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Says, all right. Well, let's make a start. And if you start to feel tired, hold on to me. All right?
Okay, and you can see him almost like he looks like he's limbering up, like he's moving his like limbs. Maybe he got too cold at one point and they've gone a bit stiff, but you can see him. Maybe this is something he's been taught to do beforehand, but he's
Always stretch.
Yeah, he sort of does all this big movements, but then very carefully lowers himself in the water. So you can hear him just sort of go, like as the cold sort of hits him.
Yeah, I think Lamorna looks at him with concern because she doesn't really know how far a young male can swim before exhaustion, and it's just like, it'll probably be fine.
Okay, could you roll me a brawn, please, as you both start to swim? Okay. So even if he does get tired, you can grab hold of him on that. And you both start to swim. You can see a very structured technique coming from James. It seems to be very taught, maybe not put into action before. With his head bobbing up and down as you both start making your way towards this patch of land that starts to appear on the horizon. And we will then hop back over to Shepherd. And Shepherd, you've been swimming a while. You've got this sail sort of bound around your wrist, and you are knackered. You can feel your breath getting hoarse, but you can see this land now. If anything, you see more land than sea. And there's a moment where you feel like you're about to give up and your head sort of dips under the water again as your eyes roll back. But as you sort of disappear just a few inches above your head, you can feel the sand that you sink into by your feet, your boots sinking into this soft, wet sand. And you're able to push yourself back up and stagger into the shore.
I collapse for a little while as soon as I'm out of the water, flat on my back, just breathing for a bit and letting my muscles rest, and just a tiny bit of speech escaping from my lips and just saying, thank you. And then I am collapsed for a little while.
You can feel that sand like in between your fingertips as you sort of grip the ground, the solid ground. There's a few pebbles there. It's not just sand. There's pebbles and a mix of very dull sand. And you can see seashells sort of collecting in your palm, and the sand sticks to all of you because of the dampness. But you've got your coat on, you have everything still on as you lay there and just catch your breath, taking very deep breaths as you look up at the sky. And it is getting dark. It is getting much darker. It's not as cold as the water, but you do feel a little bit chilly because of the slight breeze that seems to be going over this island.
First thing I'm gonna do once I recover just a little bit of my energy is look around and see if I see any people or any sign of our shipwreck.
Okay, could you roll me a brains or balance, please?
Oh, definitely balance.
Okay, you don't see the ship anywhere near where you are. You can see a bit what looks to be like the top of maybe a mast or something, sort of just wedged into the sand.
No sign of people.
No sign of people.
So the next thing I want to do, since it's getting dark, is try to find where the top of the tide is, so that I'm not, going to have water rushing over me, and a break from the breeze. So a big rock or patch of ground or something that can help me get away from the cool breeze, and all the while just checking to see if I see any signs of people, footprints, anything like that.
Okay, you can definitely, especially if you being at sea for a long time, you can see that line of seaweed where the shore comes up and some of it gets caught, telling you as far as the tide goes, and that line of like seashells. And there are quite a few large, almost boulder-like rocks here. You can also see what looks like the beginnings of a wood or a forest. There's a lot of that sort of brush that almost more like sand dunes. You know that the sand dunes would probably hold some form of shelter as they really dip up and down. You can see that very almost, it's quite coarse, very tall grass that sort of sits in patches around these small little like pinkish purple wildflowers poking out from the little corners of this rough terrain. And you can definitely make your way up shore, boots very full of water, and head towards these sand dunes.
I'll do so. And as I go, I'm going to start, once I have enough air, just shouting, Captain, Doctor, Douglas, Wyatt, Lamorna. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Elizabeth, James, over and over as I try to make my way to something with some shelter and a little bit higher ground.
You get no reply.
And he doesn't hear the sounds of barking or anything.
No sounds of barking. No nothing as Shepard sort of makes his way. You can sort of sit at the, what we'll call it, the entrance of the sand dunes, the beginnings of it, where you can still see the ocean and watch everything.
Do I see anything else out in the ocean? Any wreckage, anything like that?
You can see what looks to be a couple of crates and barrels that seem to be floating. It's more like they're slowly being washed up. They're not like on the shore. It's something you'd have to sort of wade out to get if you were going to get
it. I think I will actually try to get it, if possible. Wade right back into the cold. And try to grab those crates and those barrels as much as I can and pull them up past the tide line if possible.
Could you roll me a brawn, please?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a lot of effort going into this. You can see like they're bobbing up and down as much as the water's helping keep them afloat. As soon as you hit that sand, they start digging in as you are dragging them, as you've waded out, and you're already tired as you're working against the resistance of this. And Douglas and Wyatt, you're getting very, very close to the shoreline. This dog has sort of drifted off, like he's actually fallen asleep. His legs are hanging off over either side. You guess he's probably pretty tired. And you see this land, and you're so close on this mast. And soon, Wyatt, you have been clinging on. Your arm is aching. The muscles are aching, mainly where you've been just holding on so tight with one arm and with the other. But you feel your foot touch sand. Very soft sand, but it hits the ground. You feel steady. This is the first solid ground you've stepped on since you left Perranporth.
What are you drinking there? It's very starkly yellow.
Juice.
Juice. You're drinking wee.
It hasn't got that far at sea yet.
It's sterile.
Right, Wyatt, hold on to the mast anyway, even though we're close to land. You don't want to be pulled back out by the undercurrent.
All right, yeah. That's good thinking. You see any people on the shore? What kind of foliage we looking at here?
You are looking at almost like a sea gorse. So the bushes aren't exactly comfy. In fact, they're very spiky. It's very much thrives in a very salty, very windy sort of area. They become very tough. So they're definitely good for like fires and things like that, but they're not necessarily soft to sleep on. You can see some sand dunes sort of further along in one direction. There's some huge boulders and rocks, and just off to the side of one of these rocks where it looks like it's been sort of half sunk into the sand, and these seashells and small pebbles is the head of Minerva.
Not sure if that's a good omen or a bad one. Can't believe that she broke down on us.
Yeah. Yeah. Some strong magic that was.
There was definitely something weird at play. Let's fish her out, poor girl.
I ain't never seen any storm do that. That was something different. I tried to tell you.
Stooping to pick up Minerva. Aye, no, I agree. Alright, our captain is a seasoned captain. Shouldn't have had some weird little bit of a thunder break up his boat like that.
Mm-mm.
The dog sort of, as soon as that tip of the mast sinks into the first bit of the sand, this dog jumps off. He's this very soggy dog, but immediately goes to roll himself in all of the sand, almost as if it's sort of shakes himself off, rolls in the sand, shakes himself off, rolls in the sand. And Douglas, did you say you were pulling the head out of the sand? Yeah, he's like all over you whilst you do that. If you could roll a brawn for me, please, as you try to. This is big.
If I see him doing that, I'll help him out.
Then roll with advantage, please, Douglas.
Yeah.
I'll take the 8.
And you both sort of head over there. You've got this dog trying to climb over both of you and get on the head at the same time as you both manage to heave this out of the sand.
Thank you very much, Kageray, for that sub. 6 months, you have a new chat badge. Enjoy your graduation cap. Stick around for another 6 and you can get one with like gold fleur-de-lis and stuff. You have an advantage to give to a player of your choice. So, right, island survival. First things first, set up a base. Then try and find other people. If we build a fire, the smoke should draw more.
All right. Yeah. That sounds good.
It is
You
starting
think
to
you
get a
can?
bit darker.
Do you know how to make a fire on your own, Douglas?
Aye! First you get wood, then you do something, and then there's fire. I believe rocks are involved.
All right. I'll tell you what. I want to help you get that fire going then, and while we're gathering some wood, that'll be good for burning. It'll be good to kind of scope out the rest of the area.
Aye. Keep our
See
eye
if any-
open for food.
See if
too.
anybody else made it to shore or something, and but also to see if anybody else, any natives, are around.
Would
Keep
I
a
have been able,
lookout.
would I have been able to keep hold of my my meat cleaver?
I don't know. How much do you love it? Was it tied to you, or were you like gripping it?
I don't know. It's the only thing in my equipment, really, apart from my oversized iron pot, which I think went down with the ship. So, like, I had it on me when we were sinking, because I used it to cut ropes and stuff, and
I'd say maybe you fashioned it to your side or something.
I... Right. Look for locals and food.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. While we're looking around and I've got my hatchet on my left side, little hand axe that I can use for throwing and stuff. Also chop. So while we chopping this wood, and picking up some dead pieces from the ground, do I see any like fruit? Like
You can see a lot of samphire,
Mhm.
which you know you can sort of definitely cook up or something. You don't see any fruit in like the immediate area, but there's a
Right.
lot of greenery. You can see some of the huge rocks have mussels all over them.
Okay. The Rock does have muscles all over him. He's a pretty ripped dude.
Yeah.
Mussels! Aye! Those are
I
good.
shook his hand with him. Okay, yeah, good.
Aye, easy. We gather all them up, we put them in a pot, brew it up for a wee bit. Maybe we'll find some apples or something, and we can make ourselves a nice sauce to go with it.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. That's eating fancy.
Aye, keep your eye open for roots and apples.
Roots and apples.
Aye.
Okay.
You
Oh, I don't know that I've ever eaten any roots.
Sure
Douglas.
you have. You've eaten a carrot, haven't you?
Oh, okay. Why didn't you just say carrot?
Well, no, because we're not looking for carrots. It could be anything. Turnip, parsnip. I don't know. A Swede.
A Swede.
Aye, a Swede. Oh, no, we've had this conversation before. You call it a Rudy Beggar or something like that.
A Rudy beggar. Man, there's only one thing we call Swedes, and them's people from Sweden.
It's a vegetable. It's a big orange thing. You mash it up.
A pumpkin.
Not a pumpkin. Much smaller. You know, like they got like sort of like brown on them, and you put them with pepper, and you put them with
Like
like a
just some kind of gourd or something.
not like a gourd. How do you explain the flavor? It's not quite bitter, but not really sweet.
Man, Douglas, I'm just going to leave it to you. You're over here talking about little baby pumpkins that aren't actually pumpkins.
Look, if we find one, and I hope we do now, you'll know exactly what I mean. I'm sure you call them something like that, something like a really bigger.
You're going to have to keep reaching because we don't call nothing that.
Alright. Any sort of fat-looking roots, though, could be food.
All right, I'll be looking out for the fat roots, and but I'll be getting some wood, from this over here in this jungle, jungly looking area, and I'll be
Alice. Alice, I desperately want to find a Swede. Like, so bad.
Alice.
Alice,
Do this
help
for me, Alice.
me.
Roll me a d20. And if it's even, you find a Swede. If it's not,
I legit have no idea what you're talking about.
you
Got
do
really
not
excited because I rolled really high as well. Why don't you just give me to
Just
flip a
say,
coin?
those are some very good odds for finding a Swede on a deserted island.
find- Yeah. I'm sorry, no Swede for you. Not now.
Are you in Sweden?
It turns out.
They're rutabagas. Rutabaga?
It sounds like beer. I don't know what you're talking
I could have
about.
sworn that's what Americans call it.
Broody beggar. Ah, got it.
And I think that's where we'll take our break as they argue about a Swede into the night.
Why didn't you just say small turnip?
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, well, small turnip, there you go.
But
Okay.
we'll take our break there.
Just
So-
don't talk about aubergines.
Oh,
Confusing.
yes. Yeah.
Over what?
Aubergine. So before we go on a break, that's one of the things that Alice does to make people smile on photo shoots. Is she asks them to whisper in the ear of the other person. My favorite one. Whisper into the ear of the other person your favorite vegetable in your sexiest voice. And mine is always.
Hey, it gets
Aubergine.
the best reactions, okay?
Okay, so do as we do, people. Get up, walk around, stretch, take a break, grab yourself a drink, take a bio, do all the things that make you human. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be right back. See you soon.
Make some love.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful break. Let's launch straight back into the story. I'll post our sponsor links in the channel. Go and click all the links for me. Send traffic that way. Alice, over to you.
Lamorna, you and James have been swimming for a long old time, and you now see this land ahead of you, and you can see how close you are. You can see that James is getting very slack, very, very tired as he does this. We're not doing this now. Come on. As you swim closer and closer, you see him fall, but as he falls, his hands touch the sand beneath the water. And for the last few inches of it, he just crawls towards the shoreline where there's sand, and you can see there's almost very gritty, pebbly sand. There's big boulders. There's this
Pebble Beach.
gorse. It's a proper beach. You can also see a little bit of forest. It is dark now. You can see the stars up in the sky, and this moon is sort of like almost looking like it's made of silver, sort of casting this very eerie glossy light across both you and James, and these waves that lap very gently up against the shore. And you see James almost just head first, just into the
I try and
sand.
catch him, I think.
Yeah, you can catch him easily.
As I have a quick little scan over, can I see any signs of any wreckage? Any just signs that anything else has been here, and that could be like footprints or bits of ship or anything.
You can see what looks to be bits of debris, and it's almost like looks like something. In fact, let's have a look. Roll a beyond for me, actually. Okay. It is dark, your eyes are tired, and you were more focused on James and the surroundings ahead of you, but you do see, fully wedged, upturned in the sand, further down the other end of the beach, the ship, as it is embedded in this sand. You can see the name, the Chariot. The sign itself still intact. The head of Minerva you saw fall is not there. The mast is gone. It doesn't look particularly seaworthy, but it doesn't look wrecked. It is almost being held in place by some of the rocks. You can see it's almost been pushed up by the tide. But so like it wouldn't accidentally drift back out again, but this eerie silver light from the moon has sort of bathed it, or giving it a very sort of ghostly feel to it. But it is shelter.
Yeah, I probably turn to, I look around at James, who's kind of leaning into me. I said, right, well, up you get, I suppose. And I'll just try and, like, hoist him up into, like, shoulders, so he's kind of piggyback.
Yeah, you hear as you lift up, he's like, yeah, I'm up. Like, he just lets you. But you get in his head, maybe he thinks he's actually walking. Those are not for you, thank you. And you can start trudging your way towards the chariot. And when you see it, you can see there's a big hole in the side, not so big that it's not great, it would let in water, it's very easily repaired, but it definitely lets you go straight into the galley and areas like that. And you can see it's sort of upturned on its side, so you sort of walk into it straight, or you can see the deck, and you can also notice that the wheel is gone.
And I kind of listen out, and I'll probably call out like the captain's name, and go through the crew, just seeing if anyone replies or there's any sign.
You call out and you yell again and again, and you've got James sort of slumped over you, and I swear to God, Tony, you could Shepherd please roll me a balance, please. Okay. Shepherd, you're sat. Would you have made a fire? Or
If I had the ability and if I got as many crates and barrels up as I could, absolutely.
you're sat by this rock at the entrance of the sand dunes as this darkness, as sort of night has settled in. Looking up at the stars, you've got this huge, like, moon that is almost completely full, sort of sitting like a medallion in the sky. And every now and then you see these moths sort of, it's like they're drifting up, trying to fly up towards it, like it's a lamp in the sky, and they sort of float back down again like falling leaves. And you've got the crates around you. You've got that warmth and the glow coming off this very small campfire. And you can hear a familiar voice. You can hear Lamorna somewhere in the distance.
Lamorna, I try. Can I get a sense of the direction?
You can see that it seems to be coming back down on the beach and way off.
Way
To
off.
the left.
Okay, and all right. Is the fire big enough that I can like take a? I don't know, this will probably burn me. Like a torch kind of situation.
You could probably take, I'd say you could take a torch of it, but you know that it's, you've got like a big sort of chunk of wood, I guess. It's more like a bit of driftwood, but you don't know how long it would burn if you're running or moving because of the birds.
Is there a dune between the fire and the direction I hear Lamorna, or is it kind of a straight shot?
It's, you know, you have to go back down onto the beach.
Okay.
And then it's off in a diagonal.
I'm going to try to carry some of the fire down onto the beach and light a bigger fire down in that area.
Okay. Roll a balance for me, please. Okay, you managed to build this fire. You can hear Lamorna's voice sort of carrying on this breeze, and you build this fire higher and higher, and it is getting much larger. But Lamorna, you think you hear a voice, but it's not quite clear. But as you sort of look in one direction, you see this soft orange glow.
I kind of shift James up to kind of try and, so he's slipping, because he was slipping down a bit, so. Well, it looks like we're in luck, James.
You just hear him, like from the back. He sounds like he might be asleep.
I just kind of roll my eyes and start trudging in that direction.
Okay. Douglas and Wyatt, would you have made a fire? Or are you still arguing about Swede and trying to gather wood?
If we're still arguing about Swede, is at a distance where he's on the shore and I'm like in the jungle.
Yeah, it's not Swede.
There ain't no damn Swedes.
As you're digging through the earth, trying to find things.
I probably would have stayed on shore once we had a little bit of wood and stuff. I would have started trying to build a fire, maybe like sampling a few leaves and things around to see if any of them resemble herbs I know. But just literally just like a little taste and spit, just to see if I can find anything.
There's like a very peppery, almost sort of, I guess, like rocket sort of on the side, which you find here and there. But otherwise, there's not really that much here. You know, you can dry out kelp.
Nah, I don't want kelp, not with mussels. I'm gonna. Can I get a fire started easy enough? Is that okay? I don't.
Yeah, no. I'd say you both know how to start a fire, so.
Sure. I take a little pan, put the mussels in, Get some seawater in there, a little bit of this rocket-like stuff, and just start brewing it down.
Okay. I don't know where you got a pan, but I'll let you have it.
Point.
Good point.
It's a very flat rock, just
Yeah.
really flat.
Yeah, it's got to be like a bowl-shaped rock I can find or something.
I will
Where you
say something is washed up.
Bullshit rock, bro.
I'd love a bowl-shaped rock and a Swede.
Maybe there's a coconut or something around that I could halve and use
Yeah,
that as a
yeah,
bowl.
yeah.
It's not feeling like a tropical island.
Oh,
Something
what kind of?
like that?
It's like a coconut. Don't say
Okay.
Swede.
Like a big old pumpkin. like a big Swede.
Like a big Swede.
So we can, I don't know, man. Cook some soup in. Dude, can you cook some? Can you cook it inside anything right now?
No, that I have anything.
We're-
let me take
we're
like
gonna
some.
have to-
You
we
could
need-
say
what we
something
need to do-
you got washed up.
we need to set up a spit, unless something did wash up.
Spit all the little muscles like going to eat them.
Love that Douglas's first instinct is let's cook something. We washed up on a deserted island, don't know where anyone is. Let's have some mussel
I mean,
stew.
technically, you could dig a hole and bake it.
Back where I'm from, we had set up a spit, and we had we would have ourselves a barbecue.
Hey, but you can't really barbecue mussels. Suppose we could do that with some kelp.
Well, sure you can. I mean, you gotta have to make yourself some form of a like a basket instead of you don't stab through it. They just kind of sit there because you can't stab everything.
Well, no, that's true. But a bowl or something would be great that we could brew things in.
So glad Lamorna isn't there. God, she'd tear her hair out.
I don't suppose there's any like dead animals around or anything like that with like skulls and stuff. We could definitely cook something in a skull.
I can go make one.
A convenient dead animal.
I mean, if you could.
Are there any living animals that would be good to cook?
If
Roll
you
me a
kill a seal,
balance,
I'll
please.
kill you.
Are there any just like massive seals around?
You would die.
We went for
if
like,
you
are there
attacked the seal.
corpses before are there survivors?
The seal may kill you. Seals are damn. If you want to roll a balance to see if you can find
Yeah,
anything around.
yeah. I'm gonna go hunting. Okay. Pull my windows.
I
That's
believe.
the wrong window. I believe. Balance. Oh crap! Minus one.
Hey.
You have, you've hunted a lot in your life, and describe to me first of all how about would Wyatt go about this?
Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, sorry, I just slapped the microphone. So I just kind of stepping into the woods, really, and then I climb up myself a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Using the rope, and I using my spurs, and especially, dig into the trunk, get myself up, and so then I'm gonna go ahead and pull my pistol out, and I'm just gonna wait. I understand you got to be patient in this kind of thing, and if I wanted to create some ambiance for anything that might be wandering around, I might do like a bird whistle, and just kind of make myself part of the environment, and so then I'd just be waiting patiently until some cookable critter wandered by, and then I'd take my place on the totem pole.
You wait for a while, and the moon is the only thing sort of really giving you light, other than this fire from down further down on the beach.
That's all I need.
And you see a couple of hares, sort of in between the brush, and they're sort of just. It's sort of getting dark. You can tell that their eyesight probably isn't so good right now either. They're sort of heading back, but you can definitely, in a swift, movement, in just 2 shots, take both of them out and take those back.
And then I'm gonna do it.
You can take them back to Douglas.
All right, I'll slide down the tree, grab my dinner, and also Douglas's, and we head back. And I'll start cleaning. Pull out my hatchet
Okay.
so we can eat.
And you start to
Douglas, have you set up a spit yet?
If I see him coming back with some been to cook, then I eat. Otherwise, I'd have just been looking for a bowl.
Cookies, daggum, hairs in a bowl, Douglas.
Hey, we could have made a nice mussel stew. It would have been great.
Let's see if we can spin these suckers.
Aye.
That's how they do it in the south of the Americas. I believe they call them Brazil. It's Brazilian barbecue. Do I know about Brazil?
yeah, why not? You can know about Brazil.
I know about. I tell you what, Douglas. I know about Brazil. That's how you do it.
Well, I mean, you're very well traveled, Wyatt, but personally, I much prefer my brace of hairs to be stewed.
Yeah.
Nice soup. Aye, it gets the meat all soft. It just drops off the bone.
I mean, I'd only like to do that. I mean, when you got taters. I don't see none of them around.
No, that's true, but that's another root right there.
Taters ain't roots.
They grow underground.
There ain't no trees that come from taters.
These little flowers that come with potatoes.
Flowers.
Aye.
I don't know
white
what
ones.
kind of potato flowers you got over here.
They're little white ones. You tend to pick them before the flowers bloom because they take all the goodness out of the root.
Sometimes I feel like we're just speaking different languages.
I've heard that before.
Did I see any people? Signs of people? While I was-
You're like, I'm done with his company. Where is other people?
Anybody else?
You do see along the beach almost like a speck of fire move down onto the shore. You're not too sure. You don't see who's carrying it or anything like that. It's the light you see, and you see it start to grow as it's put down.
How very far did my gunshots carry earlier? Because it was two gunshots, like two, and I
There
carried
were
that
two
big boy
gunshots,
pistol.
which Shepherd you would have heard.
Oh yeah, and I heard it and immediately just well, that would be Wyatt.
And the dog starts barking. If anything, you hear the dog as well. When the 2 gunshots go off, there was a very happy barking because Wyatt, this dog, was jumping around you the entire time once you'd collected them.
I'm gonna keep growing the fire though. I'm not gonna wander off. I'm gonna try to stay put and see if people come in my direction.
Ramona, are you headed in Shepherd's direction with James?
I am.
Okay. There is a moment where you're walking along the sand, your feet are tired, you are sinking into this sand. It's quite stinky around this sort of point. You've got James on your back, sort of. You can see him nodding, and every now and then you hear like a small snore. And as you get closer and closer, Shepherd, what do you look like after effectively a shipwreck as you're building this fire? As this soft sort of orange light is bathing you as well as the moonlight. So what does Lamorna see?
I mean, I was already really lined and weathered, but now I'm like lined and weathered with sort of sand sticking in a lot of the lines, and all of my clothes are still like pretty much covered with like patches of seawater and mud, and there might be some pieces of kelp that got stuck to parts of me. And I actually have taken out the chain around my neck with a gold ring on it, and I've actually taken it out and started fiddling with it while sitting by the fire and waiting. But as soon as I see Lamorna, I'm gonna stick it back um, under my shirt, my very soggy, gross-looking shirt.
I am gonna get you to both roll just to see if Lamorna sees it. So if you both
Okay.
roll a balance, please. Okay. You get a glimpse of something catching the light, Lamorna, but you don't see exactly what it is. Especially as you see Shepard put it back.
Humans and their shinies. Yeah, I guess she approaches the fire, and I guess a little bit conversely, whilst I imagine she and James are both still quite damp from their long swim, I think Lamorna's clothing is more or less intact. I mean, I'm kind of making this up as I go along, but I kind of imagine that when she changes, it's more like she slips her skin on over the top, so whatever she was wearing is essentially as it was when she changes back. So it didn't really suffer that much in like the whole shipwreck. So she probably doesn't look as disheveled as maybe you would imagine. It just looks like she's essentially swam in her clothes. Except she doesn't have her big duster jacket anymore because she kind of left it when they fell into the water. So she's just kind of wearing her usual off-white shirt with the kind of the long trousers and boots, but with this very heavy kind of fur. Almost, I imagine she's actually probably looped it so it's over the top of James, so she looks like she's got like a big furry hunch. And there's just James's like head on her shoulder. And she's also tragically lost her tricorn hat, so her very, very, I know, I can't think of a way she could have saved that, sadly. So her very, very big, kind of very dark grayish brown hair is just like probably very frizzy after drying from the seawater. As she kind of approaches the fire and probably isn't sure what to say to start with, just kind of waits for Shepard to say something.
Thank God you're both here. Is he okay?
Yes, he's just very tired. He's just sleeping, regaining his strength.
Thank you. When you told me to let go, I trusted you, and my trust wasn't misplaced. Thank you for keeping him safe.
Of course, I would make sure he's all right. He's, after all, the captain's nephew.
Strategic of you. Does he still have the hagstone on?
He does. Tied very closely around his neck.
I don't know where the others are. I just gonna keep building this fire. I heard it shot, which I assume to be Wyatt somewhere on this island. He tends to shoot things.
What happened to the rest of you? I thought I saw the ship disappear into some kind of whirlpool.
Capsized direct into the water, and last I saw, I fell off. I don't know what happened to anybody else. I've seen a little bit of ruin. I assume it's broken up somewhere in the sea, but I don't know, and I have no idea that wave came out of nowhere.
I kind of gesture back over my shoulder. Well, the ship is nearly in one piece, just a little way up the beach. It would certainly need some care and attention to be seaworthy again, but it's not a lost cause.
Oh, that's excellent news. Good. All right. There's a woods up that way, and I was able to get some of the crates and barrels out of the water, so we might have some food, or at least the chance of some food.
I think Lamorna kind of slowly tilts her head. I think we're probably in a better position to find some fresh food.
That's a good point. That's good. All right. I don't know how long we're going to be here, how much of a repair we need to do, but we did not get here by natural means.
No. You can say that, but I don't know. I feel like we are at least safe for now on this wherever this land is. I don't know where we are. Doesn't look like France.
I don't think it's France.
I've never been to France. I don't know what France looks like.
Not this.
All right. Well, to be fair, I hadn't heard a lot of good things about France. I assumed that people weren't very fond of it. So.
Yeah, no one's been rude to me yet, so I'm pretty sure we're not in France. Yeah, I remember the girl saying something about an island with a bell.
Well, I haven't heard bells since the storm.
It was
Wow.
a bell that led me here.
Oh, okay then. Well, I thought we got out of that particular trap, whatever it was, but it looks like it was wanting us to come here all along. So that's fine.
In the sense that it's not fine, it's fine. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Have you seen anyone else?
I haven't seen anybody else. Like I said, I've heard signs that other people are there, and I think it's probably Wyatt, but I don't know anything else. I haven't seen any sign of the captain or the doctor, any of the other crew.
No, wait. How do you know it was Wyatt?
I mean, he shoots things. I'm just sort of assuming. Yeah.
Right, we should probably go and rescue him before he shoots something that gets very angry.
This is a good point. I was hoping that we could draw him here, but I don't know if he's going to head this way. We can head where the gunshots were. How long ago were the gunshots?
Not that long ago, like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
We can try to head in that direction.
Well, I can keep going for a little while longer, and I can carry this one. He's only small.
Is he warm enough, or does he need to stay by the fire?
I try and gauge that. I've tried to wrap him up a bit, but does he feel like he's too cold?
He doesn't feel too cold. He feels like you could move him.
I think he'll be all right for now. With any luck, we can bring the others back here since you've already got a nice fire set up.
All right. Yeah, and it should be safe and stay warm for quite a while over here if we leave for just a little bit. So let's take him with us.
Right. Lead on.
Lead in the direction of the gunshot.
You start to head in that direction. And Wyatt and Douglas, what do Shepard and Lamorna arrive to?
Well, for a start off, Douglas definitely would have taken off his thick woolen jumper and trousers and would have wrung them out and hung them over something near the fire.
There's some gorse bushes.
Aye, as long as they're near the fire, that's fine. That'll dry them off.
I'd be explaining the proper way that we do it in the West. Cook up a couple of hares. And
Oh, okay, they definitely come in on an argument, don't they? They definitely do.
See, what you don't understand, Douglas, is flavor.
You're telling me the
understand.
ship's cooked that I don't understand flavor? You don't think we don't have hares in Great Britain?
You got spices and stuff that you use, and that's all fancy, and I appreciate that.
And it's literally just flavor.
But
Carry
there's
on.
enough flavor.
Douglas, are you
What?
right? Where's the bullet wound?
I pull out my pistol at the sound of other voices.
Wait, would you put that thing down? It's clearly Lamorna.
Oh, hey, Lamorne.
Wyatt, Douglas, did something hit your head? Are you
Shit.
okay?
What are
It's
you
good to
talking
see
about?
you. We
This
were
is
looking
just
for you.
Wyatt.
I started cooking, I knew it'd draw you. We've got hares. And a backseat cook. Backseat's definitely
Backseat
not
cook.
a phrase they would have had then, but still.
I took the
Backseat
reins
of the
on.
carriage, it's fine.
I'll have you know, I took the reins on this one.
Yes, we
Good
heard.
job. Good. Well done. Did you find
You're
any
welcome.
other survivors, or have you just been cooking this whole time?
No, we were looking for you.
Also, your minds went straight to food and not fresh water.
Preservation.
My point still stands.
I am
Hey, there's
thirsty.
bound to be some wine wash up or something. We don't need to worry about fresh water.
I'm going to worry about fresh water, even if you're not. And do you have a fire set up for the spit?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, Well, and I gently try
See,
and set James down next to the fire.
And the way the cooking works on the rotation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh water is absolutely necessary. We need to go find some of that, but there's enough flavor and juice still inside these little morsels that you will still be well hydrated, and your taste buds will be thanking you later.
You can just use salt water for cooking.
Also, 2 hairs is not going to feed 5 people.
No, but it'll be something. It's something.
No, you're right. You're quite right. I'll go see if I can find some water. Please look after James. Keep an eye on him. I can guarantee you this is the right James. I have no idea what happened to the other one, but just take care of him, all right? I got him this far.
Have either
Do
of
you
you
need help,
seen...
Lamorna?
Hmm?
Do you need help?
I suppose that depends on what
I'll go
you
with
prefer to do, Shepard. You're not sure you don't need some time to rest?
It won't make any difference if I rest if we don't have water, but Wyatt, do you want to go with her?
I'll go with. We've hunted before
Right.
together.
All right.
I don't suppose any of you have seen the wee witchy woman.
You mean the girl?
Got
Aye.
my eyes peeled though.
I don't know if we're going to see her.
All the better.
That'd be for the best.
We'll be back as soon as we can. If we do not find a source of running water, I suggest we make a water pit so we can try and collect some dew. By the time morning comes around, it won't be much, but it might be something to stave off dying of thirst anyway.
Did any of you find any bottles or anything like that?
I got some crates and some barrels. I didn't have a chance to open them.
I did find the ship. There's probably some bottles on board that.
You found a ship?
Yes, our ship.
Like a
It's
whole
washed-
ship?
Yes, the one we came here on. It's washed up on the beach just the way down.
Oh,
Not
we found part of
seaworthy.
the ship.
Oh!
Which part?
The big the mast.
Ah,
Not just
Good.
the mast, and I'm gonna go down in next to one of the gorse bushes where Minerva is driving off and hold up Minerva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
We found Minerva.
that is the good sign. That's a good sign. Lamorna says it's repairable, the ship too.
Yes, it'll probably take some skill in carpentry, so let's hope they survived.
I'm not much good at fishing.
I know a lot about shipbuilding.
Good, then we'll be just fine. Presuming we can find some more people to crew it. Until then, we will be back, well, as soon as we find something, or a little while later if we don't. Stay safe.
You too.
And I will start heading off into the probably into the woods, because where there's lots of vegetation, there'll probably be a water source.
And Wyatt's going with you, is that correct?
That's
Okay.
right.
The dog is right by Wyatt's side, sort of by his heel, as Douglas and Shepard, you watch them both disappear into the tree line. Douglas and Shepard, what are you doing as you stay here?
Douglas, the girl,
Aye.
I don't think she's a witch, but she's definitely something. And we already knew that, but she's something not human. Or at least
Aye.
now she is. Might have been
I've-
human before.
Either a siren or a kelpie or something. Some kind of wee evil creature.
I don't want to assume that she's evil just because she's not human.
Broke up our boat.
Do we know that it was her? How do we know it was her?
Seems awfully convenient, don't you think?
Did you see her casting an incantation? Did you see her doing anything to cause the boat to crash?
Our captain should have been able to navigate that storm.
But she wasn't there when that happened. There was no call of a siren. There was no song.
Well, there was. We were sailing away from it.
I don't think that she's evil, although perhaps she is. I think she might be just as much of a victim of all of this as we are. More so, maybe.
Alright, I'll heed your counsel. Maybe she's not evil. Maybe she is. We don't know. Either way, I think she could be dangerous. Let's be careful.
That I would agree with. Definitely dangerous. And it was the changeling that led me to her. So,
I don't like the changeling thing.
yeah, I don't like dissolving children either. It's strange. Yes. I don't think she's a changeling either, though. I don't know what she is.
Something
And I'm
else.
sorry if I was too strong in my defense of her, or am now. You know as well as anybody, you know more than anybody why I might want to defend a little girl.
I do. I appreciate that.
Give her the benefit of the doubt.
I'll keep my caution. And I strongly advise you do the same.
I will. I know that you're wise.
See if we can save this meal. What on earth? What kind of... Like, he was talking about rubbing salts or something. I don't know. Like...
It's an American thing. It's an
barbecue
American.
rub for... What
I don't know.
What's he talking about?
It's a cowboy thing. Just do it your way. He's not here.
We gonna fight for real. Hi, it's nice to meet you finally. Boom.
I
Wrestling.
mean, I'm from like New York. We could deep fry it. I don't know.
Tell you what I need. Oh, actually, you say the ship's washed up. Excellent. Maybe the galley's not too badly damaged. I'd like to go and
I
check
don't know
that
where
out.
it is though. Lamorna knew where it was. I'm not sure.
Of course she did. Wonder that woman.
She saved James. Somehow she held on to him after they came off the ship. She told me to let go, and I let go, and she held him and carried him through the waves.
Well, I mean, she's a strong swimmer.
Miraculous one.
You say the ship looks repairable. I mean, we had the mast.
Lamorna says the ship looks repairable. I haven't seen it.
I know you know more about shipbuilding than I. The mast's not the easiest thing to replace, is it?
No, and it's kind of important. So that is a problem. I'm not really sure how we might repair it, but we can try.
Douglas, are you still sitting there in your birthday suit?
I have something on. Some wee rag for my dignity.
A dignity rag?
I
All right. Okay. I was just wondering. I'm just trying to paint a picture, you know.
Even blink an eye. It makes sense to me.
That in his hat.
I might even be
Is
taking
the
my
hat the
woolens and
dignity?
like wringing them out a little bit just to make them dry quicker.
I've lived on ships most of my life. I've seen lots of guys in their skivvies. It's not really a thing. Whatever. Yeah, no, I don't really know how to repair a mast, but I know how to build things from scratch, but I don't really know how to repair something like that. But we can try.
I mean, got trees around here, but I'm not sure I've got the carpentry skills or the tools.
Well, we don't have the tools. There might be some tools on the ship to repair holes in the hull, but I don't know about the mast. And I don't know where anyone else is. This is not a 4-person job or a 4.5-person job, and gestures to James.
Who is snoring currently, tucked up in sort of like a almost, he's prawning right now. He's sort of curled up by the fire.
As long as we can get it limping to the next port where we can have some serious repairs. Or
Do we have any idea where the next port is?
I'm not the best at navigation, but if the ship's washed up, maybe there'll be a sextant or something we can use.
Something like that, I'd be able to guide us a little bit. I'd have a chance at least. Wishing we'd find the captain, though.
Maybe they'll wash up. The food brought you, maybe it'll bring more.
I also set a fire further down the beach that might gather people. Come daylight, we should go searching.
Aye.
And when the food's ready, I'm gonna I'm gonna dig in. I'm gonna take my fifth of the food.
And you do. And the two of you sort of tuck in as you do. And the meat is cooked well. And you sit in this darkness of this night. And face. You sit in the darkness of this night, and the moon is the only thing really giving you light from a distance, and it sort of settles over Minerva's head that sort of watches both of you, even though it's resting in the sand. And back in the forest, Lamorna and Wyatt, are you moving in silence? Or are you talking?
I think Lamorna is moving quietly and probably not going to initiate conversation right now.
Any kind of communication is more of a like we know what we're saying, kind of
I think she kind of
gestures and
hisses
stuff.
very low. We're looking for water, not for game.
Well, also, we don't know what's out here.
If I just kind of have a scan around, this is like a temperate forest, right?
Yeah. The only thing I will say is that, especially for both of you, there's something about this forest that it's you get the feeling it's not all that it seems.
I think then she just nods. There might be bears or wolves. Probably the worst. We'll find.
You mean after what we just saw with the ship and the little girl? You think that's the worst thing that's out here? There's some kind of voodoo following us, I think.
I'm not afraid of that child.
I ain't scared neither. But I ain't letting her sneak up on me. Just keep your wits about you. And I'm keeping a strong lookout.
Even Hildy left after that joke, Scrap. Just so you're aware. Literally out the window.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes. I share that sentiment.
I read it as just like Hugh, like at first, but then I was like, wait a second. My brain just automatically replaced a couple of those words at the end with the words that it's supposed to be, but then I reread it and it's just so bad. It's so bad. It's so much worse than I initially thought.
Yeah, just throw
I was like, oh wow, that's pretty bad. But then I was like, wait, it's worse, I think. And I reread it and it was.
Yeah.
That disappointment on Matt's face of.
I love the look of pride. The look of pride on his face right now.
Oh my god.
And you're walking through this forest. And the trees are, you notice as you get deeper and deeper into it, they're very much equally spaced apart, almost as if they've been purposefully planted in lines. Tall, thick trunks. It's almost like firs. Here and there are patches that do look to be more clustered, like more natural.
Oh, wait a second. Is there food on these plants, or is it just like strictly decorative?
You can see some bushes that definitely have some berries and things like that on, which you recognize as safe. They seem to be like sloes and things like that.
Slows.
Like sloe berries. They look like little blue berries almost.
Like blueberries.
Hmm.
Okay.
They don't taste like blueberries.
No, they don't. But I don't know how else to describe them other than a blueberry, but it's not a blueberry.
If you're not familiar with a sloe, you'd probably think it was a blueberry.
Yeah,
And then you'd be...
it makes good gin.
What do these blueberries taste like in the morning?
Oh, why don't you try one?
I'll try one. What does it taste like?
I watch as his inevitable face just crumples up.
It's very sour.
It's very sour.
Very sour.
Okay.
But
So
it
is
is
it like
food.
is it like a raisin almost? But like a
It's
sour
more
kind of raisin?
Sour.
No, it's
like
not like...
sour. It's
People don't eat these berries for a reason.
Oh, people don't. Nobody does.
They're edible, but they're so sour you don't eat them like berries. You make gin out of them.
Oh.
You can find sloe berries though. You can find on some of the trees. You see what looks to be like hazelnuts.
Okay.
Lamona probably just gently puts a hand on his arm with a frown. Says, I think perhaps we should exercise caution on what fruit we eat whilst we're here. I don't know if you've noticed, but the forest around us is very unnatural.
I noticed that too.
I don't know if you've heard any stories about eating fruit in fairy lands and being unable to leave.
Fairylands.
Well, if somehow when we took that plunge into the ocean, we've now ended up in some strange or supernatural place. I mean, who knows what it is? There is plenty of folklore that could be used to try and rationale why we are here.
Lamorna, you just went from wolves and bears to fairyland. I'm going to need you to level out just a little bit here.
Why are those things particularly different?
Well, one is very, natural, and the other is very...
Supernatural.
Right. Now, I trust you. I'm with you. But if you say, what I'm saying is I listen to what you're saying and I start thinking that direction. And so if you're saying like natural things, I'm thinking, okay, well, it might be something really bad.
Right.
Or kind of wolves and bears or people, especially.
Well, I'll show restraint when I'm hypothesizing then, if it worries you that much.
Well, I'm just trying to look out. You know what I'm saying?
That's certainly
Because we're here and we
understandable.
ain't supposed to be in the, something might get the wrong idea.
Certainly. Although sometimes I'm not sure. Maybe we are supposed to be here. Maybe something led us here for a reason. Maybe there's something we're meant to do. Maybe we can...
Like fate.
I don't put a lot of stock in fate, but we have seen evidence of ships being wrecked more than once due to this bell that's been hearing. What if we're here to stop that, to break this cycle?
I don't know anything about any of that, but if we're here for a reason, if something brought us here, then it might be the case that we're already being watched.
Quite possibly, I imagine something's watching us. Shall we go find some water?
Yeah, let's keep looking.
And I'll go back to the water search.
And you're walking for a while, and the dog stays very silent by you.
I started to say, what's my dog doing?
Stays very, very close to you. You can see his nose is constantly to the ground. You can see the ground is very much just dirt and sort of pine needles that sort of fallen down. There is some of the bushes where patches of sunlight look like they might have come through at some point. He seems to be staying very, very close, and after a while, actually, his nose sort of dips. You see his nose dip into the ground, and you find that so do your feet, as the soil becomes very damp, almost boggy. And as you follow, you see a stream seem to, I say emerge from the ground, but it looks like it was going underground, and it's coming from elsewhere.
So it's almost like the way that water seeps up through the ground when there is a subterranean stream nearby.
It's more looking like you can see this long trickle that disappears further into the forest.
Right.
Where you're stood at the moment is where it's going underground.
I suggest we follow this against the current and find out where this is coming from, so we can try and find a clean source.
All right. Is it pretty murky? The water that we're looking at.
It is currently, because it seems to be running through a lot of the dirt on the ground, but other than it picking things up, it actually doesn't look too bad.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if I agree with you.
You both follow it, nose to the dog's nose to the ground, and it
All of our noses to the ground.
All the noses to the ground.
We're Scooby and Shaggy in this.
I mean, it could work. And you follow this sort of trickle through the forest, and stones start to appear, almost creating a small bit of a channel. And after a while, you come to what looks to be almost like a clearing. And you can see where this trickle widens up into a little bit of a stream to this. It's not like the beach. This is all very grey pebbles and a huge sheer rock face up the back. And a very tiny waterfall. You couldn't really call it a waterfall. It's just where the water is exiting the rock into this almost like pool, this lagoon's very clear water, sheltered by some of these trees, these stones, all grey. You're probably guessing this is what is filtering a lot of the water, not just the mountain. And you see the reflection of the moon on the water. And this dog very happily bounds towards this pool and throws itself in.
It's the oh, never mind.
But it is a big enough. The movement of the water seems to be constant. It's not a stagnant water.
Well, we've found, I'm going to assume, and I'll probably reach down, just cup a bit and taste it to make sure it's fresh.
Yep, it definitely tastes fresh. It's very cold. It's come straight out of the mountainside.
Well, given that I'll probably like drink a bit, not too much, so I don't get that kind of shock feeling, and just kind of look back to why it looks like we found water. That's a good start.
It is, and it seems to be safe enough.
However, we don't currently have any containers, so I suggest you take your shirt off.
Okay. To put like a, to make it into like a
Well, for now, we need to take something back, most likely for James. He's been through a lot. I'd suggest you just soak it in the cold water, let it clean a little bit, and then take it back, and then at least we can bring some water out of that, and it's just something.
Sure.
Because he hasn't had anything to drink in a long time.
My coat should be able to, if we wanted to, like, cup it.
That's true. Are you wearing like a waxed leather coat?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could probably try and make like a water skin then.
Yeah. Yeah. Just take the four corners and bring it. Just bring it on up. Yeah.
I've unfortunately lost my coat, or I would do the same. Oh, but this is a relief. I scan around the edge of this pool.
And I can use my hat too. It's a leather hat. I'll dump it and use it as my own, drinking cup.
Wish I hadn't lost my hat.
You can see this dog has got its face in the water, just lapping away, looking very happy with itself. It's coming out, shaking off, and then wandering back in again.
Yeah. Are there any tracks around this pool, as if it's like somewhere that creatures would come to drink?
You can see maybe one or two. It doesn't seem to be a lot. You can guess maybe you can see where other streams leave this place, so you know that probably animals may go to those as well. You can definitely, both of you, recognize what looks to be like deer tracks.
That's a good sign. This is at least quite a large island then, if not some kind of mainland.
And could you both roll a beyond for me, please?
Here come the fairies.
I sure can. Do it.
Here come the fairies! And this is when Wyatt just screams into the abyss.
Fairies!
The fairies! Okay. You both sort of wade in up to just below your knees, so that where you walk in, the water isn't stirred up and you don't gather up a load of whatever's kicked back up. And you manage to lower in your hat and your coat. And as you do, Lamorna, you feel your foot touch something as you sink into, because it's the stone all the way through. You feel your foot touch something, but Wyatt, you see it. And it looks to be a very small tin box. Sort of, you see the corner, that's it. It's as if it must have been there for a very long time.
Okay. I'm gonna take my hatchet out. Morty, you see that?
Yeah.
Some kind of box in the water.
I'll try and dig it out.
Here, use this. I handle my hatchet.
I just try and like lever it out of the bed of this pool.
Yeah. If anything, Wyatt can gather up his coat and tie it and take the water, sort of this homemade water skin out. As Lamorna, you sort of manage to hook the blade underneath and just flip it out, and by that you're allowed to, you manage to pull out this fairly well sealed box. It's wax sealed all the way around the edges. It looks like it was made to be waterproof.
Do I recognize it as anything that belonged to any of the crew members aboard the ship, the chariot?
It doesn't look to be part of anything of the chariot.
I suggest we open this when we're back with the others in case they recognize anything about it.
Why do you want to open it now?
I mean, I can do it. Just seems
Yeah, just to check it out and see what's inside.
By all means. And I'll take like a small knife, and just kind of scratch off the wax that's sealing it.
You can both sit down even.
I hold it a little distance from my face as I do it because I've seen his dark materials.
I lean in closer. So I want to see.
You see the wax almost crumbles away. You think maybe this knife gets the last of what it was there. And as you open it up, you see a few guineas in there. Maybe what would buy a night in an inn and a hot meal.
Oh,
You also see a very small leather-bound book. Sort of tied like string all the way around it to keep it shut.
Is that a journal?
I have a look. I untie the book. Just can't resist.
It does seem to be a journal. And you can see where a lot of the ink has run. Some of it is... You can definitely make it out, but most of it you can't. Do you read it?
I think so. I don't think we can resist.
One of the first, it's about 4 or 5 pages in. You can read the words written in a very elegant handwriting. They say the winds can hear you, that they are sensitive and temperamental and like the ocean, vengeful and with the spirit of its own. The winds may take you there depending on their ways. Sometimes they bring swift gales and safe passage, but if an unnatural storm starts to brew, you kneel and pray they do not take your soul too soon.
I just kind of regard it skeptically and then just snap it shut.
What was that all about? It sounded like poetry
Something
to me.
about praying to be spared from the winds. All sounds a little bit pretentious. Don't tell
Interesting.
Shepherd I said that.
It sounds like something Shep might be able to understand.
It sounds just, yes, I think we give this to Shepherd and let
Something.
him wax lyrical about it.
Yeah.
I'll pop it back in its little box for now with the guineas.
All right. Yeah. More than me and you can share the Guinness.
I
You
flip
take
him
one,
one
I'll
of the
take
coins.
the other. We'll pop it out and just
Yeah.
Turnip.
It's a Swede in there. No, it's not.
Very, very small Swede.
Man, they got Guinness in here and sweet.
Let's just make this our new bar. This is great.
It must be Ireland.
What kind of magical box is it? Close and open again.
An Irish one.
Should we head back? Probably best to take the water back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Right.
Looks like a good hunting spot too. We can come back here tomorrow.
Yes, you're right. Looks like there are deers that come here, which would be, well, it would feed us for a lot longer anyway, and we can salt some of the meat.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I turn and start heading back down towards the beach.
Yeah. The dog takes some coaxing out of the water, but does end up, after a good shake, following you as well. He seems to have a big stick in his mouth. You're not too sure where he got it from. But he starts to follow you. All three of you start to wander back towards the beach. And back on the beach.
Are you carrying my coat and shirt?
Yeah, if I've got the makeshift coat water skin, then you can carry your hat.
I got my hat in one hand, and I just got my hand on my pistol in the other.
Yeah, Lamorna
Another
still
campaign
has...
where I'm just walking around shirtless.
Lamorna just has...
Water.
I think she just leaves her rifle in her bag. I don't think she's actually, like, got the rifle out.
And you start to trudge your way back through this forest. You manage to easily follow the river back and go back the way you came. And Douglas and Shepard, you're sat on this beach. You're tucking into this hare meat, and it's, as I said, it's filling you with some, not energy, but more sort of comfort than anything else. And the warmth of the fire, you feel a lot toastier, feel it dried off. You can see that James's hair is sort of baked to his face, where he's sort of fallen where he is. There's a lot of sand in his hair. That hagstone rests over his collarbone. And there's, where his lips are slightly parted, you can hear that soft sort of snore. He's very...
If it doesn't wake him, I'll try to clean him up just a little bit. As best
you
I
can,
can.
like, brush stuff off of him.
Yeah.
Than anything
Want
else.
him as comfortable as he can be when he wakes up. When I get just a little bit more comfortable, I'll break the silence and say, Douglas, something pulled me out of the water. Someone did. And she knew my name. Yeah, that was my reaction. That's pretty much how I felt.
What exactly do you mean?
She called me by my name. She reached out a hand and pulled me out of the water and called me by my name.
Right. Was it the wee girlie?
No, I don't think so. She said, it's been a long time. Yeah. Do you see what I mean by we may be meant to be here? There may be something about being here that we were chosen to do. Something here knows me, probably knows you and everybody else.
Can't say I like this one bit.
Yeah. I'm mostly not a fan either.
Well, if there's someone here that wants something from us, why don't they just ask? Why all the weirdness? Why have we got to go pilfering around the beach and be washed up and everything? You could just ask.
They might not be able to. If they're coming from another place, another realm, if they're already dead, there may be barriers between them and us that they can only breach a little bit. We don't know. But this is something we were meant to do. That's all I'm saying.
Cannot say I like it. Cannot say I like it at all.
Not at all. More eating of hair.
Could you both roll a beyond for me, please?
My first fail of the night.
Both of you.
Wow, you guys.
Nice. We're a little distracted by almost dying earlier today, so
You both sit there, and there's what you both think for a very brief moment, a song on the breeze, almost like a whisper. It makes you look around, sort of second guess whether you heard something or not. It sounds, maybe it was nothing. Sounds like the ocean lapping up against the shore.
did you just hear something?
Oh, I was just thinking about yesterday.
What about it?
Well, earlier, rather. Feels like yesterday.
I don't know. I thought I heard something, but maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm just tired.
And you both sit there as you sort of turn back to the hair, and you notice footsteps in the sand that are left imprinted by the campfire.
That's there, right? That's a thing that's actually there. Do you see that?
Aye. I'm a draw my cleaver. Gonna... Shepard, we need to follow this, right? There is something right here. What do these tracks look like? Human?
They look like boots.
I want to follow them, but I don't want to leave James.
I tell you what, you stay with James, I'll go along, and if I need help, I'll holler.
Are they like adult man-sized boots? Are they child-sized? What kind of size?
They seem to be maybe, I'd say, male-sized, much larger. Yes.
Okay, I'll stay with him. Yeah, man boots.
Man boots.
Not small little creepy girl boots, which is really what I wanted
makes
to
them
know.
creepy?
Hang on a wee second.
The girl, not the boots. The girl, not creepy
She
boots.
was barefoot.
Creepy man boots.
Before I go, hang on. I hate to be caught with my trousers down. I'm gonna pull on my trousers. I've just like got my trousers on.
A good idea.
Can you imagine?
Probably a good idea.
Maybe I'd be scarier without them.
Found you.
Yeah, just like a naked Scotsman with a cleaver running down the beach.
More real than you may think.
Shouting about freedom, like nobody.
And so, Douglas, are you following the footsteps?
Aye.
You look at the footsteps, and they seem to have walked around the camp.
What the
Maybe twice. And then they leave off further down the beach.
Oh, we're in the camp, do we, passer?
You head off and follow these footprints.
Aye.
Shepard, you can hear James sort of murmuring in his sleep. Nothing like too bad. Nothing. It doesn't sound like he's having a night terror or anything. He's probably so knackered. You can hear him sort of saying, "Light the lamps, light the lamps," as he's sort of repeating himself over and over again.
Just gently rub his back, just anything to comfort him while he's sleeping. And I have my chain and my ring back out, just playing within my hand.
As you do, you hear that inkling of a soft song again.
Can I recognize it? Can I recognize the voice?
You don't recognize the voice. It seems to be a feminine voice more than anything, but it's not something that's easily identified. As you hold that ring and move it in between your fingers, it seems to become a little clearer. Not so much clearer, just louder. And Douglas, as you follow these footprints, they walk to the shore. They walk to the sea. And it's gone.
But to see. Hang on a minute, I've had this trick pulled on me before. I'm gonna go up and down the shoreline a little bit to see if the wee bastard was just trying to lose me. You know, maybe there's some tracks that come back out of the ocean, a little way up or down.
Okay, you walk along the shore. Roll me a balance, please. Not balance, sorry, beyond. You walk up and down the shoreline, and maybe 20 feet out in the water, a man stands there in the water, watching you walk up and down the shoreline.
Hey! Matey! What in the hell do you think you're doing? Walking all around the camp and scaring the creep out of anyone?
He just stares.
Don't you give me the silent treatment, who are you?
He's in a white shirt and a waistcoat. The water's sort of up almost round his chest. And he turns and walks into the water. And you see his head disappear below the surface.
You can't think you're gonna lose me like that. I'm gonna do the big, like, sailor run in the water with the legs high. Hey, go down under there and get back here!
And you run all the way out. But the thing is, you realise by the point you get, before you even get to where he was, you disappear below the water. It is deep. This person should not have been able to stand. And you sort of swipe around in the water and there's nothing there in these dark waters.
Swim back to shore. There's a lot of muttering. Can you get the wee bastard the ass in your freaking... Get it.
And you start to trudge back through the sand, a little bit wetter.
I just dried these.
And at Shepherd, you can hear down by the shoreline, a bit further down, not too close to you yet. You can see a definite Douglas walk. As he sort of trudges back, you can see him waving a cleaver a little bit around. And
Douglas?
James is sleeping pretty softly now.
What'd you find? Did you find them? Was it the captain? What was
No,
it?
no, it didn't be the captain. It was some spooky looking fella sitting out in the water.
Sitting out in the water.
Aye! There he was,
creepy
bold as brass down in the water there, watching me, and when I asked him what his name was, the bastard just turned around and get it, eh?
He turned around and did what?
He just, off he went. I chased after him.
Where did he go?
I couldn't tell you. I nearly drowned.
He went in the water?
Aye.
You are looking at me as dripping wet.
Yeah. You went in the water? You're gonna have to get naked again. Well,
That's what I said. I just dried these.
I told you we were being watched. Told you. Maybe we should get away from the shore eventually.
I don't know.
I don't either. Do you want me to go look, see if he comes back?
Yeah, he was some spooky ghouly type. He'd be showing his face again. And if he does, he'll be doing the old walkery in the camp and to the shore, to the beach, to the shore.
I
Walks
heard the
all over.
song again. I heard something. I'm telling you, I heard something in the air too. Something being carried on the wind.
Which song?
Did I recognize it at all? The song?
If anything,
I can't tell.
the only thing you could familiarize it with is like a lullaby.
It sounded like the wind was trying to comfort James to sleep. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's what it sounded like. That's what it sounded like.
It wasn't Lowlands Away?
I mean, I couldn't really tell exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Maybe Roll
It was a
Boys
lullaby.
Roll? Like a
It
lullaby?
was a lullaby.
Maybe Spanish Ladies?
I have no idea, but it was lulling James to sleep, to comfortable sleep. And he heard it, and he was comforted. So it's not just ghoulies walking around. This whole island and everything about it may be aware.
Hey, we should let Lamorna and Wyatt know too. Although I tell you, Wyatt's gonna be even more spooked. He's already spooked out about the wee witchy girl. Oh, sorry, the wee...
The wee girl.
I guess.
Yeah, he'll probably try to shoot something. So let's be careful how we talk to him.
Back at the in the forest, Lamorna and Wyatt, you have been walking. You know you're almost at the. You can see the edge of the forest itself, and you two hear a soft song on the breeze. It's almost like a passing. You could, if in some ways it's the same sound as what wind chimes make in the breeze, but there are words there. You can't really
Metallic wind
identify
chimes
them.
or like bamboo wind chimes? What
Metallic.
kind of wind chimes?
And glass.
Is there a direction or is it just all around?
It's as if it's moving past you. As if someone was walking and singing, but they've walked straight past you.
Wait. Don't leave.
Who are you talking to?
I'm just testing something.
Testing what? What is going on?
Does it continue to fade away?
You see the dog's ears perk up. For a
Lamor-
moment, the song
Lamorna, you hear a click.
lingers. And it does start to move away again.
Are you... Wait. What? Where is this? Where are you going?
Who are you talking to?
Someone you can't see.
How am I supposed to shoot him if I can't see him?
If you put that gun out, I'll snap it over my knee.
This gun's mighty powerful. It ain't
Well-
gonna be just simply snap like
My femur or the gun, it doesn't matter. Shut up. Is it still going away?
It slowly disappears further into the forest. And Wyatt, this dog is sort of like leaning up against your leg now. Not out of fear, if anything, it's settled down. And it's looking up at you.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give him some comfort scritches.
It's gone now anyway. Let's just take the water back to camp. I want to set off first thing dawn to try and find out what that was.
What the heck was that?
A song. Something else. Seems to call this island its home.
What even gave you the inclination to want to try to talk to it?
Well, what else do you do when you meet someone?
meet someone that weren't even there.
Just because you can't see them. Now, don't get me confused. I'm no shepherd. Trust me on that. I don't believe in quite what shepherd does, but there are things in this world that humans can't explain. And it's better to give them time to explain themselves than it is to assume the worst.
I don't assume no worst. But I tell you what, there's an explanation for just about everything.
Oh, there is, but the question is, will you like it?
You don't gotta like it. I don't think.
Well, I suggest we just get back to camp for now. They'll be needing that water.
Yeah, you do.
And you start to make your way out of the forest line. You can see the fire. You can see Shepard and Douglas. And somewhere, someone has written in a diary. Some believe in them, but they need not take such forms to talk to us. They come in dreams, showing us their demands. To dream of one of them is a sign they're not at rest, but require something of us. Then they also talk to us in the form of trees, the winds, and the sea itself. An angry storm, a river current, a tree bending in warning. They are speaking with the only mouths they have. And that is where we'll leave Dark Tides, Whispering Hearts this week. Excuse me.
My goodness.
I will hand back over to Scrat.
This ain't no place for a cowboy.
Just the right amount of spooky to be creepy but not terrifying yet.
I just love creeping Wyatt out even more.
I was gonna say, is this Lamorna just creeping Wyatt out? Or...
Just started talking to the wind, bro.
Love Lamorna's just like matter-of-fact explanation of all of this stuff, though. She's just like, yeah, no, but let me summarize it in a sentence and make it all make sense.
I just love that I don't believe in all this stuff, but
You're sitting there talking to it.
No, I don't believe in that stuff, but I believe in this stuff.
well, everyone,
What did you get?
thank you very much for joining us as we return to our regular schedule. The rest of today will also be as normal. At 6 p.m. you can join us for Mighty Transforming Super Troopers, completely legally distinct 90s style TV program RPG. And at 10 p.m. you can join us for The Underground, where Alice goes from creepy to downright terrifying in a Call of Cthulhu campaign based on the London Underground and other things. Thanks so much for joining us. Do make sure you read through the credits and see everyone. We're going to go on a raid, so stick around for the raid as well. Those numbers really do help. It's going to be one of our first raids of 2020 as well.
Well, yeah. Also, happy 2020, everybody.
Yeah!
2020.
Happy New Year.
The year of double crits. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Check out our social links. Check out our sponsors, Hero Forge. You may have seen the minis in the break. We've got a new one that's just come in of Lamorna as well. Typically with their coat and tricorn hat on, but hey, maybe we'll have another one next week. Who knows? We'll see how much time Rachel's got in between shows.
Maybe it'll just wash up on the beach.
Yeah, I'll get back one day.
Also, check out Mage Hand Press, who recently released their Dark Matter in hardback. There it is. This one is not coffee stained. Check them out. It's a wonderful expansion to allow space campaigns in 5e. And also, slightly coffee stained but mostly saved, Humblewood book, which is by the Deck of Many. Deck of Many, they made the Deck of Many things, the Deck of Many animated things, and other great things that you should check out. This book is just an absolute work of joy, and I thoroughly recommend that you go. Mine's slightly more loved now. I think that's how people call it, right? When you get coffee and a little bit more loved. Until next time, keep on evoking emotions, everyone, and we will see you next week for more Dark Tides, Whispering Hearts. Keep evoking emotions.